just changing a few things here. Because it's not going to be viewable from the floor.
You see all the dust on top of the lampshade now.
Well, you should have dusted it, Maria.
Yeah, or you could have dusted it. That's true, you know.
Yeah, sorry about this. See, it's not. It's not. I'll get the floor better. So it's more to do on the floor. What do you see when it catches up? See? More floor. So, guys, we're just going to start. I would say everybody's in that's going to be coming in now in a minute for the stretch session. Everybody else can follow it back. So we're just going to start again, feet shoulder distance apart, guys, and then we're just going to take a nice long circle round through those hips. Just keep it nice and light, just long circles to gradually work down through. Back to center, and then same thing opposite side, circling around the other way. And then relax that back around. Bring it down, we're just going to bring it up through the circle, just long circles round. And back. And then relax that. Hands up, just widen the feet very slightly, and then we're just going to rotate from that waist. Back to center, same thing opposite side. So breathing in as you come back to center, and then breathing out as you rotate that through. Breathing in as you come back to center, breathing out as you rotate that through. Just keep that going. Just plug in this mic. We'll do one more each side. Center. When we come back to center this time, breathe in, and then we're going to extend the arm. Back to center, extend the arm. Back to center, extend that arm. Back to center, extend the arm. Back to center, extend that arm. Breathing in as you come back to center, breathing out as you come into that stretch. Breathing in, and breathe that out. Back that in, and breathe that out. And bring that in. So we're just going to bring the feet underneath the hips, just hands down on top of those knees, and we're going to do just small circles. Just circling through to get through those ankles and through the knee joints. Sink in, push your knees forward, keeping your heels down, try and stretch through the back of the Achilles. You get further forward than that. Yeah. And then back the opposite way. So just sinking into it, pushing down through.
Are you trying to keep your feet flat on the floor for this?
Just keep flat. So you're trying to keep the heels down, your feet's a wee bit wide as well, it should be underneath. So come up onto the big toe, and then circle through from that. Long circles round. Slow it down, get longer circles with that feet. And then opposite way, back the opposite way. And then change feet. So onto the toe, the heel guides away, making big circles. And then back the opposite way. And relax that down. So we're just going to bring that feet about fist distance apart between the feet. Just take a good deep breath in. As you breathe in, raise up, head up, stretch the body out, and then as you breathe out, we're going to tuck that chin and then collapse through the ribs. Breathing out, breathing out, breathing out, rolling down into it. Breathing in as you come back to the toes, and then breathe out. Once you come back to the knees, start breathing in. Good deep breath in to prepare, and then we're going to collapse down through that again. collapsing through that rib cage. Breathe out, all the way down. Breathe in. And then start breathing out as you pass the knees. Head moving the last to come up. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out. Again, we're coming through those ribs as we do this. Breathe in. Breathe out as you pass the knees. Breathe in at the top to prepare. And then breathe out. Breathe in. We're going to do 2 more of these. And then breathe out. Roll down through. Keep that going all the way down. Head moving the last to come up. And then last one, breathe out, collapse down through the ribs. Breathing in at the bottom. And then breathing out as you come up through. And then we're going to walk that down into an all-fours position. So just breathe that out. And then walk that forward, nice and slow, into your all fours. So from that position, we're going to go into that cat-cow again. So we're going to breathe in to prepare, and as we breathe out, we're going to tuck our tailbone under and push our upper back up to the ceiling like an angry cat, as high as you can get. Pushing your hands and knees into the floor as you do this. We're going to breathe back in as we come back down to center. And then we're going to breathe out and then up the opposite direction, pushing our rib cage and belly button into the floor, tailbone up and head up. Again, pushing through those hands. So bring it back into that neutral center position. And from there, breathe in to prepare, and then breathe out and push up through. Angry cat position, hold that straight for a second. Breathe in, back down through to that center position. Once you reach center, breathe out, opposite way. Breathe back into center. Breathe out, push up through. Breathe back in, back to center, breathe back out, push up through. Breathe that in. Back into that center position, breathe that out. Angry cat, push through. Breathe that back in, center position, and then back to the opposite way. Belly down to the floor, tailbone up, head up, stretch through that chest as well. Reach, not just your neck going up, you're reaching from that upper back up through the chest. Back down into that center position. And breathe out, push up through for the last one of these. Back into that center position. And last one, opposite way. Breathe up and reaching up from that chest. So you're stretching chest, neck, coming from that belly button up through, not just lifting your head. So everything's going the opposite way. You're pulling it apart. And back into center. From that neutral center position again, we're going to come up into that push-up position. And from that push-up position then, we are going to lift the hips back. So we're not just lifting your butt here, we are pushing back, find the position, and then we're going to hinge back, keeping the legs straight, keeping the back flat, and we're trying to get our head between our shoulders while keeping that flat as possible, getting your heels down. So we're going to get a big stretch through that. As we come back down into center position, we're going to drop the hips into the floor, roll the shoulders back, breathe out. So again, we're not just lifting the head here, we're actively pushing into the floor, pushing your shoulders down and back to get the stretch from the abdominals right up through. back up in that neutral center, and then back up into that push through position. You should be able to get a little bit further this time. Back down into that neutral center. As you come down, shoulders down and back. Don't drop down onto your shoulders, don't sink down in. Lift them down and back. Now I'm pushing into the floor, but pushing my pelvis into the floor also. So my hands are going in to reach up. My pelvis is getting pushed down in. So my stretch is coming right from that pelvic floor, right up through the abdominals, up through my chest and through that neck. Back into that neutral center. And then hinge back up through. So again, we're not just pushing our head through, head's neutral, shoulder blades are coming through. Your chest is going through, trying to keep that back flat. We don't want to end up in a rounded position. Back into that neutral center, back down in, pelvis into the floor, hands pushing into the floor, chest getting lifted up, pelvis getting dropped back down and in, head neutral, stretch coming from the neck right down through. One more, back to neutral center, and then back up. Try and get a full stretch this time. Legs locked, heels into the floor, shoulder blades coming through. Relax, breathe. Last time here, back down to center, drop down into that. So again, pubic bone onto the floor, hands pushing the opposite way. Stretch through, breathe. And then we'll just sit back into that. So, again, reaching back with your seat, reaching forward with your wrists. And then back up onto all fours again. So just find take a few minutes down just to reset that center. So if you tuck under, your back's rounded, you push your pelvis up, that lower back's arching. So do 2 or 3, and then gradually just bring it back into that neutral spine position again, and relax. So from there, we're going to use the hand this time to overemphasize that stretch. So where we had the fist to the temple before, we're going to reach under with the hand this time, and then we're going to use that hand to twist us up to the ceiling to get down into that pec stretch. So facing the camera, we're here, reach under, and then as the rotation isn't just coming from the arm and the chest stays down. As I reach through, that rotation is coming from here, from that waist. So as I start to rotate, my hand hasn't moved, but my chest is starting to face the wall, and then last minute, then I bring the hand into it. So when you come down through, don't just move the arm. Some people get in the habit of the arm moving, the body not moving. It's a rotation from that waist. So when you're ready, take a deep breath in to prepare. Breathe in, then breathe out. Let's go. Breathe in on the way down. Breathe out. Let's go. Flatten out your back. Don't sink into this where you're rounding down through and you've a hunched back. Flat. Rotate. Breathe out. Tilt one up a wee bit. Back down the centre. So see here? You're a wee bit tucked under. Yeah, so flatten it out more. Do you get a better rotate?
Yeah.
Up through, guys. Back in. So if you're slightly hunched here, it's very difficult to rotate through. So try and keep as flat as possible. One more. Through, and then rotate that up. And back to center. Neutral center. Same thing opposite side. Breathe in. Then breathe out. Rotate from the waist. Last minute hand comes up. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in at the top. Breathe out as you come down through. Breathe in at the bottom. Breathe out as you come up through. Breathe in at the top. Breathe out as you come down through. Breathe in at the bottom. Breathe out as you go back up. Keep that flow going. And then last one. And then we'll walk that back down into that position. So from there, we're going to widen the knees this time. Walk them hands forward. Keep the hands locked into the floor. So when I say hands, don't just be fingertips. Push the heel of the hand onto the floor for me. And then I want you to reach back as far as you can. So by keeping the heels of the hand down, you're going to get that pull right from that lat through into the tricep as you sit back. We've widened the knees this time to allow us to get deeper between our seats. So we're getting a good stretch in the rear shoulders, in through the lats, side of the body. Breathe. Take a breath in. Raise up slightly. Breathe out. Sink back. Breathe in. Wrist forward slightly. Breathe out. Reach back. Breathe in. And breathe out. Hold that position. Take that left hand outside of your mat. Walk the right hand on top of it and sink back again. You can get a bigger stretch through that shoulder and through that lat. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Walk that back to center. Same thing opposite side. Hold that position. Right hand to the outside of the mat. Left hand over the top. Take a breath in, rise up, breathe out, sit back. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Bring that back to center. Just going to bring that down onto your front position. Hand goes out. We're going to bring it over onto your side. Bring the knee forward, grab the toes. Knees together, straighten the body up. From that straight position, you're tucking that pelvis under and stretching through. Good deep breath in, and as you breathe out, go further into the stretch. Good deep breath in, breathe out, go further into the stretch. Breathe in, further into that stretch. And then knee forward again, straighten the body out, bring it right onto your backs. So from our back position, we're bringing that right leg up. We're going to straighten that leg out. So once you straighten it out and pull your toes back to get your true straight leg position. So if it's here, that's fine. Use towel around your foot to help hold that stretch. If you can get higher, that's fine. But hold the stretch. Are you breathing?
Yeah.
Looks like you are.
Yeah. So slow from the arm, yes, there it is.
Breathe in, breathe out, go a bit further. Breathe out, go a bit further. And then breathe out, last one, go a bit further. Bend the knee, relax that down. Lift the left leg up, put the foot on the right knee. And then we're just going to hold this straight. Put your hand here on the inside of your knee, and then just breathe out and just push into that stretch. So going to the point where you have a stretch, but you're not over pushing, so you're not fighting against it. You shouldn't be fighting as if the leg's trying to push back against you. That you're not getting a stretch there. It's a controlled hold where you've got a stretch, but the leg's still in a relaxed state. And breathe. Breathe in, Breathe out, go a little bit further. So you're trying to find that sweet spot just before the leg fights against you. Breathe in, breathe out. Your stretch receptors in your body, once they get to the point where it feels as if it's going to damage, they'll fight back, which is why you get the vibration. So you don't want the body fighting against you. Breathe in and breathe out. Getting a good stretch through that hip flexor in through the glute, opening up that hip. Now you can stay here if you want and just concentrate on your breathing. If this is a comfortable position and this is what you can manage. So if this is enough, that's fine. If you want to go a little bit more, we're going to lift that leg up and go into that fire 4 stretch. Again, this knee can be bent if you want, or it can be straight. And again, as you're up now, don't just let the other leg just go and concentrate on pulling this leg. As you breathe out, actively push your knee out. So you can push it out by itself, or you can put your elbow to your inner thigh and push it out. Whatever's comfortable. Breathe out, and we go. Breathe out. And breathe out. Good. Bend the knee, bring it back to the floor. We're going to change legs. So I had my left leg straight, I'm going to straighten my right leg. Maria had it bent the last time. So straighten the left leg now. Bring it up to the point where you feel the stretch. And then hold. You had the opposite leg bent like this on the floor. So okay, foot on the floor takes more pressure off this leg, it'll allow you to get a little bit further in. Once you're in that position, if you want, you can stretch this out, but you see that my leg needs to go back slightly because it's getting a full stretch up through. And sometimes for a lot of people, the hamstring isn't really the issue here that's causing the knee to bend slightly, it can be the calf. So you can point the toe if you want to relax the calf and concentrate on just your hamstring stretch. Just let the foot relax. But hamstring crosses the knee, calf crosses the knee, so gastrocnemius crosses over. So to really get that stretch, if you pull that toe back in, that stretch really kicks in. That's why I have to go back slightly. So you're looking for a straight leg position as you do this. And then really bend that knee, put that back to the floor. So right foot goes on that left knee this time. And then we're going to push that out. So take a breath in, breathe out, push it out. Again, going to the point of comfort with the stretch. So a comfortable stretch where you're feeling that pull, but your body doesn't feel as if it's trying to push your hand back. If it does, you've gone too far. Bring it back. Breathe in. Deep breath out. Go further into that stretch. Relax into it. Breathe in. Breathe out further into that stretch. And go. And again, you can stay here. If this is fine, stay in that position. If you want to go more, reach through, grab your hamstring, and then pull into that. And again, as we're in this position, actively push this knee out now. So you can just do it by itself, that's enough for some people, or you can bring your elbow on and you can push it out. But again, don't fight. Bend the knee back to the floor, just bring that foot down, relax. And then we're going to go into the opposite side for your stretch. So that right leg comes up, grab the foot, straighten the body out, and then push the pelvis forward. Good deep breath in. Breathe out, relax into that stretch. Good deep breath in. Breathe out, relax into your stretch. Breathe in. Relax into your stretch. Deep breath in. And relax into the stretch. Bring that knee forward, relax that down. Bring it right onto your front, and then we're going to set that back again. Just to relax it back slightly. And back onto all fours. And again, from this position now, we're going to go into that pigeon stretch on the floor. So if some people find this just a little bit uncomfortable, you can elevate it onto a chair against the wall. If you want, you can do it standing up against the chair or against the table. It's the exact same position. But from here, I'm going to straighten the body out, and then I'm going to circle this leg out and round. Once we get it to 90 degrees, we're looking to put this hip into the floor as much as possible. So stay tall, come down into this. If this is impossible for you, then elevate it onto the sofa, elevate it onto the kitchen table, where you just stand up, put your foot on the table, and then just stay tall and just let the leg fall by gravity. Don't try and force it. So my knee on this side is slightly higher off the floor. Maria's got good mobility on this side, her knee's nearly on the floor. The important thing is that when you get into this position, you're not falling down to the side. So some people try to get to the floor, but now you've fallen out of the stretch because you've sat down over this way. Get tall. It's a tall, straight position, and then try and get your hip coming down straight into the floor, your knee going straight into the floor. And it's 90 degrees here. Don't have the foot coming from this angle because you're not getting that stretch. Okay?
I'm a wrist sore.
Actually, I'm up on my fist.
Yeah.
So if your wrists are sore from all the push-ups we do during the week, guys, go up onto a straight wrist position on your knuckles.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
So come out and round, abs to the side, keep tall, keep that straight position, and then sink into that stretch. That's it.
There we go.
So straight wrist position, there on my knuckles, my thumbs out for balance. No? And then breathe and relax into that stretch. Breathe and relax into the stretch. Hold that 90 degrees. Your foot's not 90. Then hold your foot.
Hold it.
Yeah, support your foot. And then just let the body fall. If you're fighting against it, relax up out a wee bit. Yeah. And then we're just going to sit that down and bring it round out of that stretch. So again, it's always important that you're not fighting against it, guys. If you think of the most flexible people, martial artists, gymnasts, people like that there, when they're going into positions of stretching, they're not stiff and they're not fighting against it. It's always relaxed where they just fall into the position. That comes over years. So don't try and force yourself into a stretch because it's not optimal for the body for getting what you need out of it. Yoga, Pilates, things like that, it's always a flow into the position. And this is what we're going to do now with this stretch. Wide leg stretch, sit tall. Imagine you've got one of those big exercise balls in front of you. We're going to visually come out of the hips, reach over the other side of that ball, and then we're going to come under the ball to come back in. So tall, out of the hips, reaching forward out of the hips, get under that ball with the hands. You can curl back into it. Breathe in to prepare at the top, breathe out, up and tall, over we go. Breathe in to prepare, come down through, sit tall, breathe out. Breathe in as you come back, breathe out as we sit tall, breathe in to prepare, breathe out, reach over the ball. Don't worry if you can't get far. If you can't get past your knees, that's fine. This can be here. If this is your position, this can be here. That's fine. It's what your mobility is, what your flexibility is. Breathe out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathe in at the top to prepare. Breathe out. Bring that back through. Sit tall. Last one. Breathe out. And sit tall. Good. Feet back onto that mat. One leg comes up. Let that leg fall down out to the side. And then same thing. We're reaching up and then we're going to just breathe out and reach forward out of this. Sometimes in this position people end up hunched. So for this position here, if you need, you can elevate yourself onto a small box or a small block, and that'll actually lift you up to get you a taller seated position. It makes it easier for people to reach forward out of the hips. If you have one. If you don't, just concentrate on what you can do. So breathe in, breathe out, reach over. Breathing in, sitting tall, and breathe out. And again, my small finger is reaching for my small toe here. That's what I'm visualizing as I do this, that my small finger is going to touch my small toe. Doesn't matter if you can touch it. That's to get the angle of what we want. Breathe out. Every time you reach forward, you should feel like you're getting further forward out of your hips. But it's about being relaxed. Don't force to the point. Don't try and jerk yourself forward. Relax into it. Breathe. You getting that hip tight? Mm-hmm. You'll get that down the next side. You can do one more. Reach that up through. And then bring that back. From there, just bring the foot up. Bring it across. And again, my right foot is across my left leg in this position. I'm going to grab that with my right elbow in a headlock. I'm going to pull that, sit tall, I'm going to pull it over my left shoulder. That's going to get your stretch down through into the outside of the glute. Maria's doing the opposite, where she has now put the left elbow, so the back of the left elbow, to the other side of your knee, and then you're twisting away from it. Stay tall. Breathe and go a bit further every time. Or just headlock, sit tall, and breathe as you pull this knee over this shoulder. Breathe into it. Breathe out. Breathe out. So relax out of that. Carefully bring that foot back across, straighten that leg out. We're going to bring the opposite foot up now, let it fall down to the floor as much as you can. And then we're going back into that stretch again. So again, visualizing that the small finger's touching the small toe, that's going to square that chest off slightly. Sit up out of the hips, we're still reaching over that ball. Breathe out, down through. Breathe back in, reach that up. Breathe out, go down into it. Breathe down. Breathe that out. Breathe in, breathe back, sit tall. Breathe out. Breathe it in, bring it up. Breathe that out. So I can reach the foot on this side, I can't on the other side, so I need to work on my mobility for my right hand side. And that's more coming from my lat and my down my side than it is coming from the hips. And then last one. See if we can get it over. You can. Tall. Bring that foot up. Just bring that foot across. So my left foot is going over my right knee this time, so I'm going to grab it to my headlock with my right arm. So I'm reaching around the front, and then I lock and I pull it over my shoulder. So you're pulling up through from that. So that's getting again stretch coming from the hamstring into that glute. So if you're easy tight around here, you might get a big stretch here. If your restriction is coming more so from the lower back and through your waist, then what Maria's doing, back of the elbow goes to the outside of the knee, and then you twist the opposite way. What I find with this is you tend to lose this stretch in the glute, but you're getting a good stretch through that lower back. But if you're not feeling this and you find that you were feeling the glutes more, then you're probably tightening your glute, and this one will work better for you. For now, you can mix between the two. And then we're just going to bring that across. Bring that down, just sit yourself forward. Hands, so fingers face away. Roll your shoulders back and then walk forward slightly. And what we want is that when we breathe in and then we breathe out, we're pushing the chest. So if you notice, I'm actively pushing my chest through up to that ceiling. I'm not reaching my head back because that makes you think that you're doing the stretch, but you still could be down here and reaching your head up. Shoulders go down back, I'm sitting up out of my hips, and then I'm pushing my chest through. That's going to get the stretch down through those biceps, through the chest, into the forearms, down into those wrists. Good deep breath in. Breathe out, go further. If you get a bit more mobile, you can take a scooch forward slightly. Do this when you're not in the stretch position. Breathe in, scoot forward if you need, as long as your shoulders stay back. If you scooch forward and your shoulders end up in a rounded position, then you need to go back. Last one, give a deep breath in. Breathe out. And carefully just walk those hands back out and round to get that. And then we're going to bring that up. So you can kneel down, sit down with the knee, you can stay tall with the knee if you want. We're just going to reach that up and back. So whatever comfortable for you in this position. So raise tall. Hands go to the side, palms up to the ceiling, reach that back. Roll it forward, push forward. To really emphasize that stretch in that upper back. Right hand comes across. Once you get it across the body, grab the elbow with the left, pull through. We'll change, same thing other side. Next arm goes across. Grab that elbow, pull through. And then hand comes around the back, roll the shoulders back, stretch. I like to come up for this. And relax that. So that's us guys, your Saturday stretch, week 2 done of the Rush Fitness Live classes. Well done to everyone that has trained this week. If you're just catching up, get one session in, get your stretch in, do your session tomorrow, or do a workout today and then do your stretch tomorrow just to catch yourself up in. Hopefully that should have relaxed you out after the week's training. We had a tough week this week, so have a good Saturday and we will see you all on Monday. The bank holidays. We're doing it Monday.
Monday 10 a.m.
Yes, Monday 10 a.m. guys. Have a good one.